This is George Dingelmeyer with the Wabash County Public Library Oral History Program, interviewing Byron Schlemmer, 460 North Cooper Street, Wabash, Indiana, Saturday, January 6, 1979, at the Wabash County Public Library. Okay, Byron, the first question I'm going to ask you is when and where you were born and who your parents were and the mother's maiden name and so forth, and just give me a little family background first.
I was born in Wabash at 116 Manchester Avenue. My father's name was Clarence, my mother's name was Anna. Anna Grunewald was her maiden name.
Well, just give me a little background on the family and so forth.
I was the second child. I had a sister Elizabeth, and then a younger brother Elton and Snider. We were all born at home, and at 116 Manchester Avenue.
What date were you born?
I was born January the 22nd, 1914.
1914. Tell me about your grandparents on your father's side. Who were they?
My grandfather Schlemmer was about the second generation from Germany. He had brother Adam and I had a brother. But my grandmother was Elizabeth Geiber, and she came from Germany when she was about 6 years old.
What year would that have been, exactly? 1860s?
It's been approximately there, I think.
Okay, on your mother's side, what were their background?
My mother's name was Anna May Grunewald, and she was born on a farm south of Grunewald, Ohio. Her father was a barn raiser, Sam Grunewald, and her mother was Nora Cooper. They had quite a large farm, and there were 9 children in her family. 3 girls and 5 boys.
Do you remember your grandfather and grandmother Schlemmer?
I remember my grandmother, but my grandfather was dead before I was born.
What did Grandma Schlemmer look like?
She was a softly young gal, a little bit on the heavy side, unless it was all a petticoat that made it look that way. And I have a copy of the Civil War discharge that my grandfather had. It said he was 5'4", so he must have been rather short individual.
Was Grandma that small too?
He was not too tall. They lived right next door to where I was born. No. There's a homestead. And my father moved from that house next door, and that's as far as we went.
What did Grandpa Schlemmer die?
I think he contracted some kind of lung disease in the army, and couldn't stand very much work. So I'm told he was a janitor for the church. They used to take the benches out on Saturday, dust them off and so forth, and made them back in. As far as I know, I think remember too much of an occupation that we had. It was on his discharge listed as an occupation, but I think that it was.
Where are they buried?
They're buried in Falls Cemetery.
Both of them. And how old was Grandma when she died?
I believe she was 63.
63. And what did she die? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly. I can remember her being sick and being in the hospital down by the city park. Yeah, had a second floor room on the west end of the hospital. But I think she was back home when she died. Seems like I remember that day.
How about on your mother's side of the family, on your grandparents on your mother's side?
Well, my grandfather died about the age of 62 or 3, around, you know. And my grandmother lived on for quite a while. And grandfather lost about everything he had. He was quite a well, he bought a lot of oil stuff. And evidently got a hold of some bogus deal.
So you're selling back in those days?
He used to like to race horses. When he lost his farm, he moved closer to Grunewald and lived right across the road from the fairground. And there he had a couple acres, just one cow. And then we lived in Maine. We'd spend quite a bit of time in the fairground.
So they lived while you were children and still alive?
Yeah, well, we used to go to my grandfather's quite young when he was on the farm. And I can remember going in the gardens and so forth, and swimming in a creek there. I have an uncle that is just a year or two older than mine. They like eggs to play with. So, he was the youngest child of the family.
Did Grandma and Grandpa live to an old age when your mother died?
My grandmother lived quite a while. In fact, she was alive when my mother died in 1930. She would move in with her children. I kind of moved with my Uncle Sam in Lafayette, Louisiana, and that's
Is she buried there in Lafayette, Louisiana?
No, they took her back to Grunewald. And there's quite a few Grunewald and Coopers buried in that cemetery at Grunewald.
What would the Coopers have to do with it? The Cooper name?
That was my grandmother's
Maiden.
name.
Are they buried in a church cemetery or a public cemetery?
No, I think it's just a city cemetery similar to Falls Cemetery.
Going back a little further, were there any great-grandparents or grandmother or grandfather on either side living when you were a child with you?
No.
None at all. And how would you get from Wabash over to Van Wert as a child to visit them?
My father got an automobile pretty early. In fact, I remember 1914 years that he had. I think he had Ford trucks before that in the sheet metal business. But he had a 1940 Ford twin car that had a soft top and no side. That is, you had to put side curtains on your steering time. No trunk. And I used to park it in the garage and drive it up in the winter time and get it out in the spring and summer. I can still remember a car sitting in the rest in the garage. Since he drove that car until 1928. And I helped him into getting a hat. My dad likes to run pretty fast on the dirt roads, and a hat just wouldn't take it. So he went back to Bruce in 1929. And in these old cars, travel back and forth down there.
Would that usually be an overnight or a couple of days trip?
No, we make it in a day, and take the old dirt roads up to Pedro and Andrews on streets. I don't remember the exact route, but it was generally in Andrews, bypass Huntington somewhere, and went through the Decatur into the somewhere.
Were there any pictures from here to Van
No.
It was all saddle and regular downhill.
Yeah, and it's just started traveling.
So this is obviously not a summer trip.
Right.
In your grandparents and in your parents and in your in-laws, do you see any family resemblance either in your children or in the grandchildren that was not through the line in place? Resemblance, facial or...
Oh, yeah. I think I have eyes like my father, and I can kind of see him in my daughter and even my granddaughter. And I'm about as bald on top as my father was. And that is several family traits.
Would you say any particular member of the family looked a lot like your parents or your grandparents?
Well, I think I kind of have the features of Schlemmer side, and possibly my brother Sam has favors the Grunewald side.
Yeah.
The Grunewald quite a bit larger built people in the Schlemmer. And my father's family. And out of 5 boys, there were 4 that were over 6 feet. And my grandfather Grunewald was right at 6 feet. Heavy man. But on the Schlemmer side, kind of short, like Uncle Bruce, and my dad was a little bit taller. Chris, Bronx, and Wally all a little bit on the short side. And there were 8 boys in my father's family. 4 girls, 2 of which died early in life. 2 of them grew to be quite old.
How did was there any family story or anything like that, how your grandfather and your grandmother met, one being from Grunewald Hall and the other from Wabash, Indiana?
Well, my uncle Charlie was a preacher, and he happened to be preaching at a little country church south of Grunewald. And my mother was there, and he went to visit Uncle Charlie, and he told Uncle Charlie that evening that he was going to go back. And so one girl right there that he took his eye quite a difference. The summers were, I'd say, more or less on the poor class, and at the Grunewald were pretty well to do with something. And I probably thought it would be a pretty long step for him to miss, but he made.
He solved the situation for him.
Yeah.
Is there any family legends or stories that go back on either side of the family? Relatives, how they got over from the old country or why they came over on either side of the family?
Well, on the Schlemmer side, I think it was my great-grandfather. They were supposedly 4 boys came over. They paid passage for 3 and shipped 1 in a box. And night sometime they'd take some in the box, and that was their shipped over. In New York, they got separated somewhere, and my great-grandfather never tried to tell us after that. After they got separated in New York, however, there are some families up around Middlebury that trace their history back about to the same story, and how they come to locate that close together. I never know, but the old family Bible records about the same. My grandmother's family Bible, which was all written in German, and all the records, 2 records were recorded in the Bible.
Okay.
And,
did anyone say how they happened to drift all the way out to Indiana?
no, my grandmother, I know, when they first came from Germany, located by Papa Creek up near Urbana in L7. And I remember my Aunt Tina telling us just about the location over there. She was my grandmother's younger sister. Leidenberger, married Philip Leidenberger.
Where would that be up on Papa Creek, if you were to take me there today?
Pretty close at 13, and 5 and a little bit east of 13 crosses Papa Creek.
And that's where they established their cabin.
Yes.
Now, on your grandmother's side of the family, on your mother's side of the family, they went to San Luis. The grandparents were San Luis.
Mm-hmm.
How did, was there any family legend as to how they got there, or where they came from, or what their background was before they got there?
I never heard too much about that, except that my grandmother, who was North people, was pretty well to do. In fact, he supposedly bought the farm that my grandfather owned. But I can't go back much farther than that.
Well, let's move on in your life then, and tell me what it was prior to going to Greece, or what site in that first there that you can remember, and what was life like in the family, and college was living on Memphis, or what did you do as a child living on the city that you can remember?
Well, I can't remember too much before I went to school, except home, and home. We just played. We had a rather large backyard and rather large garage. I also built this garage from mostly from we burned out the first burning about 1912 or 13, and my father bought that didn't burn and built this garage. Actually, even had kitchen within the garage, but it was a three-story structure, and my uncle said he, by that time, lived in St. Louis, came to visit us, and evidently he didn't have too much to do, but he stuck around and built this garage, and built several cupboards for my mother, box storage, two-to-one storage box. In fact, the museum's got a couple of people who made cabinet deals, but they wanted the museum. I had a toolbox at home that's like my father's that he made. Very nice. Really very good cabinet. In fact, he worked later with Wabash and went about the country putting new storefronts and Wabash was up and going and growing and so forth. He was a good partner for Wabash storefronts and his kingdom.
What did your father do now that you were a child and you were born? And what was his profession and how did he get into that?
Well, my father was studied with Schlemmer Bothers in 1908, 6 years before I was born. He was a singer. He came back. He never went to high school. He said he had a hard time getting through grade school. But he relates had to say my grandfather in your house, but my grandmother got an organizer that says 58 boys and 4 girls. But as soon as they were over, they went to work and he collected the money, give them a small stuff. And started out the earliest job he can remember. He would watch cars out on the common that the street Wabash. Keeping home just the cars, let the yards were fenced in, so you could drive your cars up and down the street without imposing somebody's property. And I remember some of the fences along the front yard. I have pictures. I can't remember on Manchester Avenue, the big street, and I have pictures of the house and just big streets and ditches up and down. And I like to say that was one of these big jobs that came out and out east side. And put him back in. But he could watch two people cattle and keep them together and then separate them and put them back home for nothing. After that, he'd only stayed working things that's going on nothing located in the downtown area, and they had to keep another shop on the second floor, and the kind of learned the trade there. I don't know just how long he was there, but they did a lot of roofing and slating, most of the jobs were outdoors, but he had a boss who, again, I think everybody personally knows, but downstairs is a hard work, and I think that's it in this thing. But everything was just in wooden boxes instead of cardboard boxes. A lot of times it was his job to unpaid merchandise, and he unpaid it quite a bit. One day, they would stop these crates in the house. And at noon, he had asked the boss downstairs if he could have a crate, and evidently he okayed it. So Tony's meanwhile knocking them to pieces and getting them ready to go home. And that evening, John, who was back after that dinner, I guess at the right about noon, he asked about downstairs to come in and said he had already given it to Pet. Pet was my father's nickname. And he told my dad that he wanted to come in, but I had spent the meanwhile knocking at the pieces and getting them ready, and I think I'm in holiday. I asked Young, said, if you take the come in, that'll be your job. They said he tried about that all afternoon. He started to take the come in. That's kind of a set of relations there. Then he went, he had another brother, John Schlemmer. John Schlemmer was the oldest boy in the family, and he had a railroad foot, and John, the other than his father, and he had a business that my brother is located in. And that's his business that making money, repairing trees, and farm machinery. That's the word, pretty much farm machinery in those days. But he felt a good when he was working. They take some money in the business, and they call it his family brother. That was the father, the governor, right? That was good. But they were down on location, and God retired there. He done business there. He didn't have anything else to do, but he went down those days. And started a little shop upstairs. I think he said he you wonder.
Yeah, well, this is the entertaining part of it. he got the $5 rent, and then he decided to do what?
Well, along in the spring, there was a pretty wealthy farmer south of town. His name was Roby. They had a round barn, and he wanted to put a slate roof on it. And he came to Dad for asking if he wanted to put it on. Of course, he said he did. He didn't have any plating tools of his own or anything else, but he had done a lot of plating. And he talked to this man, Robbie, and gave him a figure. He came back later and said he'd been around getting figures. Talked to Jones up at Singing Hipkin, and Jones said, why, he can't do the job. He doesn't have any tools. He hasn't got enough money to buy slaves. He's got no business even giving you a figure. And so he wanted to know if that was true. Dad said, yeah, that's true. He said, well, how do you expect to do that job? And he said, well, I haven't got the job yet. He talked to him. This guy is supposed to be pretty tough, this Roby. He talked with him quite a while, and then he wanted to know how much to get the plate cutter and how much the plate would cost him and so forth. And he figured up and what he had to lay down before he could have his plate delivered. And he advanced the money to him. He did the job. After he got the barn started, he liked that pretty well. That, on a round barn, that's cut every plate that goes on. Dad said he had figured that and figured every course and so forth. He said after he was done, he didn't have one pack of plate left. He said right down to about the last 12, 15 plates. And then Roby did him another job on the house. And he did that. And things started going for him. And Uncle George was in a hardware and Syracuse, Indiana by that time. And he had told Dad he'd like to go in business sometime. So he wrote to him and told him he believed this was a good place to go in business. And asked him if he wanted to come down and go in with it. And so he came down, and that, like I say, in 1908, that's where the Schlemmer Bothers started. Clarence, Schlemmer, and George Schlemmer. And
one ran the hardware and the other did the other thing.
Uncle George was the salesman, and Dad ran the shop and did the work, so to speak.
Well, they located what happened to the business with the harnesses and all that.
Well, by that time, they kind of bought out the hardware in and took over the east side of the stuff. And it was just a matter of a couple of years later that Uncle John retired or went to Warsaw. I think he kind of went broke. And went to Warsaw and started, he had I remember a little shop in ski repair shop and harness repair shop in Warsaw that he, but George, they left while George and Dad took over, and started pulled off with the line of hardware. But some of the boys were all pretty much fishermen and so forth. When they'd catch a big fish, they'd cut his head off and kill it. Yeah, I like that. And everybody was interested in fishing, asked them what they catch them on, and can you get me that kind of bait? And so they had one little fish they started talking. It finally grew into a big showcase, and then two big showcases, fish bait and so forth. That was before they had any competition back in the fishing line. But they all liked the fish and hunt. And a lot of farmers around knew it. And back in those days, Saturday night in town was about the time for the farmers to come in. And if somebody caught a foxfish, or a coon or something else, the left side where the harness was, there were about 6 or 7 pairs over there, and the farmers would gather and talk, and I could hear a lot of stories when I was a kid.
How long did this relationship and partnership last between Clarence and Anna?
Let's see, that lasted till about 19... Well, my mother died in 1930, and my uncle got away sick, and Dad carried him for a year or so, and of course the depression was gone, but that was bad, but it was soon after my mother died that my dad bought Uncle George out. Uncle George had a son who became a doctor and had located in Warsaw, and he went up to live in Warsaw, and they stayed up there quite a while. And later came back and started another business in the corner of Canal and Wabash Street for a while.
Hardware?
Kind of a hardware and sheet metal. In fact, he was up there, and J.W. Woodward had worked for Dad a while, and had joined the Marion. And then when Uncle George started, Woodward came back and did a lot of the sheet metal work for George, that is.
When did George die? After World War II or before?
George, he died before World War II. I don't remember the exact year.
But then your father has the business all to himself then, and the Depression years are upon you and so forth.
Right. And he kind of had a tough blood, raising my mother and buying business and trying to raise 4 children by himself. My sister and I were the oldest, and we were seniors in high school.
When your mother died?
Right, yeah. And of course, Sam wasn't in high school yet, I can say. He was only about 12 years old. But Aunt Penny had lost her husband, and she kind of moved in, and although she was at that time getting fairly old, or at least we thought so, she did good job of keeping them together.
Before we get on to that subject, and let's go back now to your grade school years and where you went to school and so forth.
Well, I went to school at the Century School.
And where was that located?
That was located on Manchester Avenue, right where the big boy restaurant is now.
How far was that from your house?
It was just a matter of, let's say, about 2 big blocks. And my sister, a little bit, about 13 months older than I, she was a little sick at the time she was supposed to start the school. And might say she was late, okay, but she was in the first grade, and I was a little bit young, and at that time they had a high class and a low class in the same grade. But between my sister and my mother and the teacher, I started at school either January or February in the low grade, number 1. And at that time, I had a teacher named Mrs. Anna May that had the number 1. And
A married teacher?
Might have been Miss Anna May.
That would be unusual.
Probably.
Yeah.
Miss Pete had the 2nd grade. Miss Yates was my 3rd grade teacher. Irene Huffman, my 4th grade. Frank Petty, my 5th grade. Bryon was my 6th grade. And Annie McCarty was his principal. And he was the oh, Miss Holly, Mrs. Holly, in the 7th grade. She was a sister to Bryon. And at the 7th grade, that's when they had the new high school built and pulled the big shift. I just went through the 7th grade and then had 1 year of junior high at the old high school.
This was going to Cass and
Right.
Hill. Yeah.
Right. And then, of course, went to high school next year. I didn't want.
Anything unusual? Now, you and your sister are going through the same grade in grade school, Century School.
Yeah, it is. I think it's around the 6th grade where you got to get into the high end of the class or stay back. But I think it's Irene Huffman. I was in the 4th grade. And she told me to bear down on her a little bit so I get into the high side of the class or something next year. Anyway, I went through possibly pretty young. I think I was the youngest one in our high school graduating class. I was 17 in January when we graduated that spring. And Kenny William was next year, and his birthday was in December ahead of mine in January.
Was there anything interesting that went on at Century School when you went? Anything outstanding or unusual what happened going to grade school? Or anything you did?
Interesting. There was quite a bunch of boys in Ross Heights who could prove they were tougher than any other section of town. There were quite a few fist fights, but no great damage done. And I do remember dog fighting was my favorite sport. It took the dogs on each other, and so I pretty much kept fighting pretty hard. I remember Ebbinghaus's dog, they had a male dog, they called it Ginger. It was a pretty tough dog to beat. But Jim a little older, but the dog was undergone and under control about that time. But he was quite a fighter, Jim.
Did you kids have a dog at your house too?
We had a dog, but we had mostly town across the field. And they wouldn't put much in besides that.
Well, Paul and Ernie Ebbinghaus thing was across the street from you almost.
No, Paul Ebbinghaus was in my grandmother's house, and the bathroom, Snider, and then Ebbinghaus, about 4 hours north of that.
So you kids were all around together at the same time.
Right. And Paul's boys were raised across the on facing the Allen Street. They were John Rice owned the house. He had both of his daughters there, and there's because they were both widows. Paul had 3 boys, Howard, Marvin, and Amy. And Mrs. Victoria was Jean, and the one that he's probably the youngest headed that the work in both sides ran up the highway. That's Todd? Yeah, Todd. That's Jean Farm up there north of Urbana now.
When you were going to school as a child in the country school, did your mother and good help in those days?
I think so.
How would you celebrate, for instance, the winter holidays like Christmas and that? What did the family do that would be much different than you do today?
We had a Christmas tree and different presents. I don't think the presents were ever sacrificed now, but we've always got a little something for Christmas. I do remember a toolbox. We got one Christmas. Subsequently, made a lot of bird houses and this, that, and that. My father bought the house next door. South, going back, he had, not in the 6th grade school, he had a tennis cycle. He was a tennis instructor, and they had Dr. Racing from Huntington. That just made you figure in those days. Came down to operate on it. And my mother was kind of a practical nurse. But she could take care of both situations, small accidents around like a lot of the neighborhood. But it's good for my mother to get a cut or something that, or have another day or something like that. She often took the situation in hand. But she wanted to witness this operation on my dad, and Dr. Jason Kevin, and he was so full of gangrene, he told some food there, I wouldn't give 2 cents to his cancer. Anyway, that's her thinking. She did get over it after quite a week in the hospital. But they bought the house next door from Bryon, Anna and Amy and and bookkeeper for deal. I forget how the name is. Anyway, they moved up on Wabash Street. And Dad bought this house and made 4 apartments in town. And the purpose of my mother doing it. Raise the kids in case we that's how the picture. If that was heard in front. The whole family went over there and swept and hauled plaster and knocked down the wall and so forth. But if I was pretty young, probably not too much help, but at least, anyway.
So you had your grandmother living on one side, right? Right. And you owned the house on the other side.
Yeah.
And the apartment side. What's in your summertime holidays, like the 4th of July and Decoration Day, that's what basically was the time to do the child. Homemade ice cream, perhaps?
I just say my dad liked to too. More days off first than my mother liked. It's okay. But he did include most of the holidays too. And summers used to go to Hill Lake and have a 4th of July picnic and all the men on station.
That would be 8 men and their wives.
No, not all of them, but they made about as open as a church to all of them. I remember about the Hill Lake, and there was just one little shed down there, and 3 or 4 boats. It said to put doors in. And the cows run through all around. There was a picnic table there. And drag the cars in. And the dog was swimming.
Good time.
Yeah, a lot of good times together.
Well, when you were sick or anything through your grade school years or anything?
No.
None of the rest of the family had any?
Well, let's see. The whole family went down and had a flu epidemic in 1918. Previous to that, I personally had double pneumonia at my Uncle George's house. He just lived south of us in Washington D.C. 5 houses south. But it was very cold days. My mother wanted to go down and help me, so she put us to bed. Put us to bed and thought we'd stay there, but I got up and went down over the other night straight in bare feet. Got double pneumonia out of the day on. Which my dad thought was pretty serious. I don't really talk too much about it, but he was so happy when the fever broke there. After that pneumonia. But I think we had chicken pox and smallpox and all kinds of diseases. But I say the flu, when everybody had it, our whole family was down with the flu. And I believe that was 1918. And Mom Timmy was the only person that would venture in the house. She'd go to help anybody that needed help. It's a good Christian woman. She'd tell you your faults, but at the same time, she'd help you out if she could.
Talking about that, what was the religious atmosphere of the family in that case?
Well,
they belonged to a church, and your grandmother belonged to a church, and did you participate?
Well, I think my mother said I started church when I was 2 weeks old. old. Up, we went to the evangelical church. It's now the Methodist church. Where their preacher was famous in Methodist. One different between Methodist. Evangelical is Methodist is more or less English, and evangelical is German. They even preached in German until World War One, and they were still one Sunday a month. They'd preach German, but they quit that because everybody looked down their nose over the sermon.
They were fighting it.
Yeah, right. And they went English.
Yeah. Where was the church located?
Right where the red brick is.
Oh, that was in the corner of Manchester and 5th, so to speak.
Well, yeah.
North Wabash. And that's
The
it.
North Wabash. He was on that Wabash side, yeah. Actually, Parkney was preaching Huntington right behind us. So, since it tore down for a new parsonage, and since then, that parsonage is more that.
What was the religious atmosphere? Did you go every Sunday night, and Wednesday evening, and so forth?
We went every Sunday, Sunday school and church, and back in the evening, and Thursday night with prayer meeting. And my father and my mother both sang in the choir. And we got in on a lot of choir practice.
Was your grandmother, did she belong to the
She
church?
belonged to the church, but like I said, she died when I was 4 years old. I don't remember her in the church that much.
Did your uncles and aunts also participate in the church? Or was
Well,
let's talk for some of your father and mother's part?
it depends on which uncle. I had very religious uncles. Some such the other way.
Ones that were participating in that church also.
Uncle George was superintendent for a long time. Uncle Charlie was a preacher.
Did he belong to that denomination?
Right. And Uncle Fred was fairly religious. I think Uncle John and his family went quite regularly. Fred, of course, left Wabash early. Ed didn't go much. Jake almost never went. But
Different in person.
the personality
No, why?
did
Did the family, I would assume, being this strong, did they follow all the tenets of the religious practice in regards to tobacco and alcohol and so forth?
No, the one who I would say the religious, my father told me that he had never smoked and never drank a beer.
And obviously the women didn't either, the men didn't.
Right. But I never put him swear. I heard him say a bad word. I mean, big bass got away from him and something like that always. But my dad was very strictly. His outward was kind of a flat type, I would say. He never imposed his religion on anybody else. He couldn't take him out of it either. He said that he would often put these metal ceilings in balloons. He said, had Mrs. McNamee in first grade, Mrs. Hendy in second grade, third grade, I had Miss Yoke, I guess, and Miss Hoffman in the fourth, Miss Petty in the fifth, Miss Bryon in the sixth. Miss McCarty was principal. I had Miss Olive in the seventh grade, and then went to junior high school. That's when the new high school was built. And the old high school was made into a junior high.
Oh. How long did you stay at junior high?
1 year.
Just 1 year. And then you went out on North Miami Street to the high school.
Right.
And what class would that have put you in the high school for graduating?
I graduated from high school in 1931.
1931. What activities did you participate in high school?
Well, I was in the band a while, and I wrestled and part of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Went out for football, but never did much more than warm the bench. I guess that was all athletics.
Who were some of your associates and friends that you had in high school that you ran around with and had fun with?
Well, I ran around with Bill Johnson, probably more than any other classmate. There was Clarence and John McNeely, several
Mm-hmm.
students.
Did you work in the summertime then?
I worked all I could, mowing yards, picking cherries, odd jobs like that. Carried newspapers for several years. And that's about it.
Yeah. Of course, the Depression was on,
Yeah.
and did you find it extremely difficult to accumulate any money or anything?
Not too much. My mother had started me when I was in grade school packing papers. She would bank part of my money, and I had about $500 saved up by the time I graduated from high school.
Mm-hmm.
I went on to spend it at Manchester College next year.
Yeah. And as you get into your high school career, in your senior year, right before your senior year started, your mother died. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah. And what were the circumstances?
She had cancer and was operated on in April, died in September, very first of September.
And what kind of a hole did that leave in the family with 4 children? You had an older sister and 2 brothers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Elizabeth did what she could around the home. I had an old aunt, in fact, my father's aunt, Tina, who was widowed sometime previously, and she made her home with us and did what she could around there.
Mm-hmm.
And we got along pretty good.
Did she do the cooking and the laundry? And
Well, with Elizabeth's help and my sister's help, she made out pretty well.
when did she die then? How old were you then?
When Aunt Tina died,
Were you in college or post-college?
No, I finished college and I was in Washington D.C.
Oh, in other words, the family had pretty well grown by the time she died.
Right.
Yeah. What kind of an effect did this early death of your mother? What kind of an effect did it have on your father?
Well, he was pretty lonesome, hard to put, I might say, the depression. He had to buy my uncle out about the same time. He had got ill and couldn't pull his end, so he was trying to buy the store, and the banks went broke, and he lost money, and the old farmers merchant bank, in as much as you own the store. And everything was pressing down on him pretty hard at one period, but he made out pretty well.
Yes, he survived.
Yeah, he did. And he kept the business going until three of us boys bought him out in 1945, I believe.
Why did you decide to go to college?
Well, it's hard to find a paying job, and my mother had always said that an education is something you want to get. It's something nobody can take away from you. And above all, get an education. She kind of instilled that in us, and I didn't know how far I could go when it started, but it started.
Why did you pick Manchester College? That's the next question. You had $500 saved, you were a graduate of high school.
I imagine because it was close, it was well recommended, and I didn't know too much about very many colleges, but Paul Johnson was going up to enroll, and I went up to him and enrolled and went there a year. And that's, I don't know, just the desire to go to college, but no end in mind.
Did you enjoy that first year of college?
I think I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I lived up there for a while, and then when things got a little bit tighter, we rode back and forth with the Stones, Bob Stone and Josephine was on there at that time. Later, rode with Ben Johnson, who lived down by Richdale. He was on the basketball team. And then with George Cullors at a rooming house for a while. And it was enjoyable.
When you started out, did you have an objective to be a teacher or something? Or?
No, I don't think I knew exactly what I wanted. Just knew I didn't want to be a chemist.
Then, the end of your first year, and you came back, and what did you do in the summertime? Between your first and second year.
At the end of the first year, I'd spent all my money, so I didn't find a very long job, short term. So I went back to high school and took bookkeeping.
So what's happening now that you went back to postgraduate courses at the end of your first year?
And about February of that year, I got a job with Grunewald Radio in Marion, which was a pretty steady job. And so I quit high school and went to work there for a while. Finally got into electrical testing, which paid about 45 cents an hour, which was considered very good those days for 17, 18-year-old boy. I made enough money from January to be interested in going back to school that fall. And that fall I went with hard polish down to Purdue, and because the price of the state school was a little less than Manchester, and started in there. 20 years until money ran out, and went back to work at Grunewald, and worked till maybe January, laid out a half a year there, and went back to school and finished.
Where were you living at Purdue?
Well, I lived at various places. This place is on Vine Street. Another place is with the bakery right across from the Union Building. And that's about all. I guess I spent about all my time in those two places.
Did you just take a room? Is that
Right.
so how much a week was it?
Well, in those days, I think it was around $12 a month for a room.
And then you had the grounds for a couple of weeks.
Right. And so I worked practically all the time I went to school, both in Manchester. I had some jobs with the school, and then at Purdue I had NYA, I believe it's called, National Youth jobs, all the way from doing duties in the Union Building to dusting benches off in chemistry. And I operated the telephone in Prairie Hall for a while. And I got a job helping a professor write a book and sort through magazines and opinion articles to tear out and anything that he thought would be interesting to him, first compile that he has to do.
Did you find the direction to do as to what you were going to do?
Well, I don't know. I just kind of drifted into mechanical engineering. Probably missed my calling. The head of the mechanical school wanted me to go into engineering law. But I didn't take his advice. But I did make fairly high scores on in psychology and law, law courses, and engineering. Somewhat easy. I found bookkeeping and accounting rather difficult, but in foreign languages, history and foreign languages, not so much.
Did you have any practical shop experience with Purdue? They had the shops and consider it all phased out and it was
No, we had shop courses in shop, forging, and finally,
but to my knowledge, they are not offered anymore for Purdue student engineering.
I don't believe that.
I've talked to some of the Purdue graduates and they talk about tuition and kind of being the third shop and so forth. They talked about that, but they moved it out. But if I see background also working with this radio, that's probably helpful also.
Yeah, of course. You have a smattering of electrical and civil and chemical engineering around the West. Mechanical, something they have smattering of mechanical on the day, so but I don't know. Some of them know it. I like my favorite subject, refrigeration.
But as I said, these are also the summer jobs.
Right.
And working with a company in Maryland.
Yeah.
So, what year did you get to mechanical engineering position to do?
I graduated in February 1937.
37. Did you have a job lined up or anything?
Yeah, I had several offers, but actually just commencing to physics psychologist recruit, and I had several invitations to come to visit the facility, among which the Johnson Service Company at Milwaukee, and I stopped at the power plant in Mishawaka and a couple of places in Chicago, and went on to Milwaukee. I kind of like to set up the Johnson Service Company office. Well, it's not the best paying job, but I thought I would like it better.
What did they offer you as far as college graduate in 1937?
Money-wise, Johnson Service Company was paying $100 a month
For a graduate engineer?
for a graduate engineer.
Did you take the job then?
I took the job,
And where did you go?
and we were kept at the factory, and I was put on the drawing board for 6 months. July. On the 4th of July, they sent me to Washington D.C. The Federal Reserve Board building was packed, and they were ready to test out instruments and so forth that had been installed there. I had drawn up several switchboards in the factory that were installed there. So they sent me up to help adjust the system. And it was supposed to be a temporary job at first. I'd be allowed several months to set up and adjust, but evidently it was just very, very fast according to what I could hear. We had it operating and running good in less than 6 weeks.
So this is the heating system.
Heating and air conditioning.
Air conditioning office.
Yeah, primarily air conditioning. Well, it is a combination. Very large coil compressors, 500 horse compressors and so forth.
Was the controls business, was that a relatively new field then at that time?
No, I don't think it was new. Of course, pneumatic controls were much cheaper than electric and much more suitable for large systems because you have a graduation from 0 to 100 on the control. If you took electric control, even 5 positions, you had to run that many wires at that time. And pneumatic, Johnson Service Company, which is probably the oldest company, power regulator and national regulator, were the only 2 companies in the business. They did most of the government buildings. Johnson Service Company and power was quite in national house as a picture for the at that time. And national is a company that went after Honeywell eventually purchased to add the pneumatic control to the airline. And they greatly improved it over what national had.
So how did this young college graduate that obviously not stayed too far from home, how did you fit into the Washington life and what did you do? find those days exciting down there in the city?
Well, and I found plenty to do. I first moved into the Benedict Hotel, primarily because I had a swimming pool and fitted to win on land. I made several acquaintances at Washington University. Graduates and students were living there too. We got into some football games and several things with them. Always somebody knew what was going on in the circle.
With $100, that was a lot of money then. In fact, they were probably paying living expenses there.
No, they bumped my wages. They weren't going to bump me until you were just a company a year, but when I explained that it considered the higher living was in a $25 a month raise. About in August or September, and they subsequently raised me periodically. But after they got a reserve job, they decided to send me around where they were having trouble. And they sent me to Mayflower Hotel and up department and I got things pretty well set, reasonably fast, and they started sending me to Baltimore and to the American Camp Company, and they had a federal land bank there that was about 7 floors high, 4 exposures, 50 long-term control. They couldn't collect the money on it. I took a inconsiderate and went through the whole job, taking it up in like a month's time, and everybody was happy when they paid off. So then they sent me to Philadelphia for another couple of jobs that were giving them trouble. And back to Washington, Ohio, down to Greenville, North Carolina. And then during that day, I went to New York for about 3 months, and the World Fair was coming on. There I was on the drawing board, and mostly making control diagrams and so forth, working with the engineers.
For the World Fair.
Right.
How do you figure it out with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So Johnson's pneumatic system, this is what you were working on with this pneumatic system in Johnson, right?
Right.
So did you have it complicated when you have to be on the quality contract and to put a land bank building? That's one of the other lines.
No, I wouldn't say it's too complicated, but it seemed like most of the old-timers there were not acquainted with the newer instruments and just couldn't understand them. But I don't know, to work out well. And we even worked out personnel problems between the team for the union.
I went back to sit on the drawing board for the U.S. War in 1939 in the U.S. Then nothing to do.
Went back to Washington. We did a Library Congress annex and carried out testing laboratories. Did a lot of work on planetary to build intelligence and big Statler Hotel went up in that time. National Gallery of Art was built back then. We had U.S. printing office. At one time I had about 8 steam fitters and about 4 or 5 helpers working. One of these jobs, in fact, we had so many things going that it took you all week to get around to just clean all those jobs. Because I always contacted the steam fitters I had that I considered to run the job. And back then I considered even in the evening they come to me with problems. And didn't take long to get them going. At that time we started throwing a lot of applications in the 2 minutes, but they just allowed the previously that they figured that it could be done. Just cut the labor way to a minimum. And then put them in the 2 minutes and warm them up to the home in the hour. And that went real well. National Gallery of Art was one of the toughest jobs they had because it was testified to run in red black house instead of competition. But the red black has so much copper in it, it also had to cut a thread without twisting the pipe. Quite a bit of difficulty there. And then found some lubricants and the Standard Oil. Got the Standard Oil worked on it. And I came up with some lubricants that worked fairly well. I would still say it's not the way to go.
Was there a reason for the red glass rather than copper too? Did they think the going was their last long if they did that?
I don't really know, except that it some engineer's specification that went in there.
That was it.
Had to be.
But Washington was growing and booming and World War II was coming on and they knew it.
Yeah.
Everybody knew it.
Yeah.
And it must have been an exciting time to live there.
That's it. It was. It was really exciting for me. I don't know, the police building,
FBI building?
yeah, the FBI building and so forth. And archives building. An 8-room schoolhouse is about the smallest job that we went on. Got into, but there's an awful lot of building going on. And Johnson Service there, that's their share, I think. While I was there, I think we got about 90% of the job. So I was regulated, it keeps going in once in a while, but we got about everything Pentagon building came out, we knew about what college was big and what national was big. But since Honeywell had national, we got in. But they, I think, went down. Charged a lot off the advertising to get the Pentagon building. In no way could they install that for figures. But kind of hurt our pride. But they got it. And they did it. But it wasn't too long after that that I left Washington. And the war was on. I got in Class A. By that time I was married. I got married in 1942 to Mary Snider, Schlemmer. And we lived in Washington, lived out Bethesda, near Bethesda, about, let's see, until from June until February. And I was in Class A, married, pregnant. Her father was sick when I figured I'd be in the Army in 2 weeks' time. They transferred my address to Paris, Indiana. And to help her folks out, and they were milking quite a few cows, primarily a dairy farm. I knew nothing about the business, but my father-in-law had been in farming all his life, and explained to me what had to be done. We got along fine. And I stayed there till the fall of 45. When I came to Wabash to kind of help out in the sheep metal business.
Let's go back a second, Brian. And how did you meet Mary? What was the first time you met her?
Mary groomed in Manchester College with Emma Claire Yeager, who married my brother Elton. And on a visitation home from Washington, dated Mary.
Was this a blind date?
Yes, it's first in the blind. And that met her. Kind of liked the guy.
Mm-hmm. Where did you go that first date?
Well, it seemed like we went to Goshen, probably to a bowling alley. And since we bowled, I was within a picture show.
She was still in college?
She was teaching in Middlebury at that time.
When you met her?
I think she just went to college 2 years. She took what they call a normal course, but then started teaching. And she was going from Middlebury, and I think she taught for 2 years.
When you met her?
And I met her.
So how did you foster this romance? Was you in Washington and her in Middlebury?
No, we just wrote letters. And I finally prevailed upon her to come to Washington for a visit. She brought a girlfriend along with her. And came up, and about a week stay, so forth. Yeah. And I just, every chance I got home, I went to see her.
How long was the train ride from Washington in those days?
Well, it was just about a 12-hour ride, I think, from Washington to Warsaw in Pennsylvania.
Did you own a car when you were in Washington?
Well, I owned a car. As soon as I got out of school, I bought a car. I had a car when I went to Milwaukee. And in Milwaukee, I lived on Newberry Boulevard. A couple of old maids and their mother. Very nice place, but it's Helen Jackleben worked at Johnson Service Company. I think she knew that I wanted a room. She gave me this room and put it in there until I left in July. So Washington.
Didn't you tell me one time that Johnson was always looking for unusual photographs of his thermostat control could show up in pictures, new pictures?
President of the Johnson Service Company was looking like to have well-known people in these photographs, and I sent him several. In Washington, you have a little better chance to pick them up than any place else. But Franklin Roosevelt was president, we put a thermostat in right behind his desk, because he wasn't there and it was working. But it wasn't long after that he was at his desk and came in and made a White House call and picture came out with Roosevelt on one side and Chamberlain on the other, and Johnson thermostat right in the middle.
Well, that must have been the best picture they had.
I sent that to him and he appreciated that.
How much money were you making by the time you finally left Johnson?
I think by the time I left, I was making $225 a month, which was still low considering steam fitters I had working for me were making $1.70 an hour, and helpers were making 95 cents an hour, something on that order. I figured on the hourly basis that even the helpers were making more than I was.
How did you finally convince Mary that she should marry you?
Well, I think I just asked her if she wanted to get married, and she said yes.
And where did you get married, and what happened when you said that?
We got married at her home.
Which was where?
Near New Pass, on a farm near New Pass. And I let her pick the place and the setting and the preacher and everything involved. I just wanted to get in and get out. But we had a long wedding right up at her home. And it was in June the 14th. Roses were in bloom, and it was a beautiful day.
I bet it was. And then you immediately left for Washington then?
Right. We left Chica. Of course, gas was racing and so was cars. And my tires weren't too good, and I didn't have too many gas tickets, but we did go to the mountain, Blue Ridge Mountain.
Before you went back to Washington?
Right.
What were your impressions of Mary's parents when you early on?
Well, I thought they were good, stable people. I They're humble, but say what you will, I think a farmer has to know a lot of things. And it did impress me a great deal on what a farmer has to know to get along, a little bit about everything. And I just say they're very impressed.
What kind of livestock and how did they do their farming and so forth, and as you remember?
Well,
How many acres did he have?
well, Charles, my father-in-law, Charles, had 160 acres where he lived, and he had, at that time, 80 acres, about a mile from the home place, which his oldest son moved on to and later bought from him. And he was primarily interested in building horses. He and his brother raised building horses, and they showed horses all the way from New York to San Francisco. And they were well represented in some of the building horse magazines, business magazines, etc. And they first knew about Wabash because the Draft Horse Association, the Belgian Draft Horse Association, was here, and they came here quite often with papers to register horse, and any transaction had to go through the local office, I believe. And Dan, who was my older brother-in-law, was interested in Jersey cattle and little interested in horses. But he had a line of registered jerseys on both his place and over at Charlie's farm. He was doing the farming part. But when I went there, my primary job was to take care of the milking and the livestock and help out Phil on the rest of the work, growing food.
How many cows were there milking?
I think we were milking about 35.
And was this all done by hand then?
Before I went. It took me about 2 days to install a milker.
Did that prove satisfactory, or did the old man think he had a wise guy for a son-in-law or something?
No, I think they had been thinking of installing a milker. But when I told them I could run the pipe in there and the short order, and besides I couldn't go very fast milking by hand, and way too slow for that. But Mary and Esther both could. They could milk that cow as fast as milkers could. But when you got a milking machine, you can run 2 milkers at a time. They soon took over that way.
Cut down on the labor cost.
Yeah.
Eliminated all the milking except for one man, right?
Right. Well, I had quite a bit of help. Mary helped considerably, and Esther when she was at home, and not much of a problem. I did all the milking on several days when everybody else was going, but not too much of a trip. And got the milking machine, but it's terribly hard one if you don't.
Were they still using horses to do some of the farm work?
At the time I went there, they had 7 horses between the 2 farms, and that was probably more horses than most of the neighbors had. Most of them, a great many of them had no horses, but we had two really good teams, plus some others. And I like to work with horses quite a bit. We could go places that don't have the tractors in those days would stall out, especially hauling manure on the snow. The like of that. I've seen it snowbound where all the neighbors were sitting tight. I could get through with the horses. They often come over to help me out, so I'd help them out. Fix the feed and the feather down and help them keep the cows back from rubbing the joist. Get her down some.
But did you enjoy that time on the farm then?
I did. I enjoyed that about as much as anything I ever did. A lot of work. You get up early and go to bed late, but you should really feel good when you're working outdoors all the time. And else I was at the right age. I was going to work, but I enjoyed that a lot more than I did working on a drum board.
Was the father-in-law's health was just getting worse, or?
Well, he got a little better when I went there. I think mainly because I worked with him. It's the many things that he wanted to get done. He would explain what he wanted, and I'd do them, and I think that tended to make him healthier. But I worked with him a lot. He knew a lot. He cut down several trees that were starting to spoil in his woods. Plus, a big wind went through and took down I think it was 18 very big trees, and logged those out. And we opened up the sugar camp that had been closed for quite a while.
What was that? Sugar camp.
We made maple syrup, or they call them sugar camps, but packs of maple trees. And
explain how it's done so your grandchildren can enjoy it someday.
Well,
it'll all be synthetic by the time they're listening to this.
First place, the sugar camp is merely a tank that you can build fires in it, and large opening. We got to boil down approximately a barrel of sap water to get a gallon of maple syrup. And the sugar maples that we had approximately 125 trees in this list. Whereas the larger ones, you could put more than one pile in to drill a hole in there, put a pile and hang a bucket on it to catch the sugar water. And the next step is we had a stone boat that had a horse tank on. We'd gather the sugar water and take it up to the camp, and like I say, Mary's father liked to fire the furnaces and stay there with it all day. I don't know how.
This was done in the woods, usually?
Right in the woods. All that came out of the woods was the smoke and the
and then you would boil this sugar water in this big vat, so to speak.
Right. There was a system of about 3 tanks that keep thermometers in them, and when it would start to thicken, it drained from one tank into the other, on down to the surgeon.
Were these all within a large container, or were they three separate tanks?
Three separate tanks. Of course, they got smaller toward the end. The first tank is much smaller than the water tank. But they together up wood, keep these fires burning, and then gather the water was quite a chore, but that was my end of it. That took the team, and Frank had two boys that liked to help, and they go out and gather the water before they went to school. And then later in the evening, after melting, we often went through the woods at moonlight, gather the water. Probably still be out there firing furniture.
You hit this at a certain time of year, then?
The best surf time is when the freezes and thaws. That is how to February, when the stuff starts up.
This would be too early now, January.
Right. When it freezes and stays so even the stuff doesn't pull out. When it thaws, the stuff will run, and then when it freezes, it'll slow down, but it'll start up again as soon as it starts again. But after, if it stays thawed too long, why that goes out and the surf isn't too good. But it's like a good freezing, thawing conditions, and good surf.
So how many days would this process take you? A couple days?
You mean to
gather the surf and build the fire and do all
that would go on continuously for 2-3 weeks.
Oh, really? This would be just an ongoing thing, as long as the sap was flowing.
As long as the sap's flowing, you keep boiling it. And sometimes I had to put the extra sap in the barrels to hold it until we could get it into the first tank.
What kind of buckets did they use through the woods?
We had the metal buckets.
I've seen the wooden buckets, that might have been
I think they were older type buckets. We had rather small buckets that had a hole in the side. You just slide the hole over the file. Just finished. No bail.
Oh, so clever. Did you have a regular route through the woods, or you knew which way to go to get all the buckets and how many you had and so forth?
No problem there. Like I say, you put 1, 2, 3, telling you the size tree, and I remember one particular big tree. I think we had about 5 files in there, but that was a very large tree.
Then what would they do with the maple syrup when they had it all cooked down and the syrup? When they finished product, what would they do with it?
No problem getting rid of it. I went on pancakes and went into cooking, and even boiled some of the syrup on down to make sugar. But we also made cottage cheese at that time. They were separating. Owners that sold the cream had a lot of whole milk, skim milk to the hog. And they had a surplus of skim milk to make cottage cheese.
How did he do that?
Oh, I don't know. Grandma's not even made it.
You had the secret recipe,
Yeah. You just clabber with milk and I don't know, add a little salt and so forth. Eventually pour it into a cloth bag, hang it on the porch, and let it drain. Drain out the whey, What you got left is I didn't see that.
Then you feed the weighted pig.
Pigs and chickens or something. Anyway, you put cold homemade cottage cheese and put maple syrup on it, and that's out of this world.
Well, I've never heard of that combination before, but all right, I guess.
It's very good.
He wouldn't sell any of the maple syrup, and he would just use it for his own consumption.
No, he wouldn't sell them unless somebody coaxed him to sell them. This is fun use for all that.
This is consumers. Well, that's very interesting, you guys. So how many people now make maple syrup?
Not too many.
Not around this area. That's extremely interesting. Anything else unusual on the farm that you enjoy? But electricity obviously has come to the farm by this time. All the trees, in the trees.
Yeah, everything was like this thing. In fact, they had the old Delco plants in there before they got power from the RMC. And old batteries and the generator was still there, but it was quite a nuisance compared to buying the insurance.
Oh, I bet they were. Well, what did you do then? Decided that you had enough farm, or?
Well, not exactly. I think I had farmed to the point where I wanted to purchase a farm or something. I wanted to become a little more independent and being a partner for this group, which I consider myself on the low end of the partnership. But I was working, doing field work for something like 40 cents an hour. When sheet metal man in Newport was trying to get me to work 5 hours for $1, even offered me $1.25 to come and help him out. And that I still felt like I could get the farm work done. If I didn't do it, I didn't know who would. It was just impossible to get everything done without helping. So I stayed there and did what I was supposed to. Worked for them on field work, which was his end of it. And things were getting kind of late for thrashing, but Dan did have a thrashing machine. We thrashed a few neighbors, and we filled silos with several neighbors, plus ourselves. And of course, I always along generally with the team and wagon, because, like I say, the neighbors were getting short on team and wagon. But I enjoyed that.
The income was rather limited then.
Yes, it's limited except that I had a third of the cost, and probably had advanced my money on first buying, and I paid them off, and they had sold several cows. We had a good, like I say, a good registered jerseys. John belonged to the association, and we tested, and the cows were raising pretty well.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're talking about leaving the farm.
Well,
Is married and working, or raising children, or what in this process for you?
John was born always at the farm. He was born in Dayton. And, of course, I think he was 2 years old when we moved to Wabash in 1945. And I started in with Schlemmer Bothers, Korea, as a partner with Elton. And son was still in the Army. And but we were still glad that he'd be welcome to join us on his ship, and when he got home, and this is so serious.
Now, did you buy the business from your father?
Right. Went through. We figured up inventory cost. He sold us the business at cost figure, no interest, coffee established the rent on the building, which he at this time owned. And
How about the accounts receivable in that?
he kept most of his accounts receivable. And as they would come in, they were automatically his. We just started new accounts or anything that went on the book. That also was new business.
What, in 1945, was the business substantial and grossing?
The business was pretty good. There was a little short on half, and in fact, that's the reason Elton had been in there with Dad in a selling capacity, and he sold washing machines and quite good. I don't know exactly how long he'd been with Dad, but all the years that I was in Washington, but when he went to school for Hanover College 1 year, Manchester College 1 year. He went down to Purdue for half a year and decided to quit, I guess. At least he couldn't make the grade down. Anyway, he went to look for Dad, and he was married before I was. And of course, when jobs were hard to find, so he started selling, like I say, white goods and washing machines, working mostly on commission. And I'd been there quite a while before I joined in 45, the fall of 45, in the Wabash. And sold out my ranch in dairy herds and so forth. As far as you asked me about the farm being lucrative, you never know what you got until you stay in. But I had enough to pay for my house and buy some furniture. And I think I had enough left over to get a new car, if you could get one. Ordered one anyhow. Soon, because my car was just about stopped by that time. That's one of my brothers had some trucks, and I drove one of them for a while. And I sold my car to design we filled the line.
Sure.
Yeah. He was leaving me as well, and I had to have transportation. I told him I didn't want to sell it until I got another one. But he made the price so inviting I had to sell it. He valued it much more than I did. And he drove back and forth the deal from right here, like that old car. He had to repair it some, I'm sure. But, then that car finally got me a new Plymouth in 1946, I think. And they were pretty tough to get a hold of. And they made why I still live, 460 North Station. The house is up on the stucco, and we resided it, tore the porch off. We did the kitchen. Come along, being in the furnace business, changed to furnace from coal to gas. Later on, built a garage. Like the place is the same. The same picture thing. Anybody? Business was pretty good, especially we were working. Well, the first thing that they wanted me to do was go out to the country club. Well, what is now a country club. And I installed the air furnace and most of the ductwork out there. And then we also had the Honeywell Foundation, which was a pretty decent job. I was on this quite a bit on the start. We got interested in selling oil and gas furnaces. It was no problem. Everybody needed a new furnace that cleaned. Everybody wanted to go to automatic heating away from the coal. And we finally switched into factory work quite a bit. At one time we did all General Tires, sheet metal work, and all of the beer, Ford Millibus, and Calico. Some time or another had to switch work. So can't work every place all the time. And still maintain quite a bit of individual public work, whatever you call it. Installing furnaces, gutters, little roofing, and something like that. But from there, family was born. 27. He's 32. 47. And then John was born in 59. And Mary was home most of the time. All the children were quite young. I don't know how old John was when she went back to teaching, but she occasionally would substitute teach, both in the city and in the metropolitan. And as the children got a little older, she did more substituting. And then finally took a job with metropolitan in a band, and they've been there since. Since the fourth grade.
Let's go back a little ways now. What happens to your father after you go to Washington? And the two remarry, and where did you meet this lady, and what happens to that relationship, and what comes about, and so forth, and then the end of his life, so forth.
Dad was single for 10 years, I believe, right? And then finally, let's see, my mother died in 1930, and then in 1940, she married Grace White, widow of Mr. White, and she had an adopted daughter, Martha, who kind of joined the family. I knew men before they were married, but at the first time I was in Washington.
What were the circumstances surrounding the meeting? Was it church, or?
I think they met in church. Well, I think Dad was pretty young, and I think he probably should have got married before that, but he didn't find anybody in the league like that.
Well, that's a pretty good reason.
Anyway,
The Sam was still going to come, the Sam, she was away from home by 1940.
by 1940, his son was 2. Well, Sam was still home. Elton was still home.
They were still home. He gets married.
In fact, I think Elizabeth was back home. And I more or less didn't go back home after 17 years old. And I started school, I seemed to always go to school or get a job away from home. And lost home contact a little, except for visitation.
Now, did his new wife fit into the family well, and everything went well?
I think she got along well with those. Like I said, I never lived at home with her, but the others probably had a closer relationship than living there.
She got along with him well.
Yeah, I think so.
What happened in 45 then, when you and Robin buy the business? What happened to your father?
Well, he continued coming down to the store.
He's still living on Memphis Avenue?
Right. He's still living there. The stepmother. And he loves the food and the house. And he looks forward to the time when he can do more of it. And he got into it real strong. He went fishing about every day, and they were biting. And he loved to hunt. And continued that until he got to be a burden on him to walk in the snow. He cut out a few days, he rest up. And I remember that he got real interested in some TV programs that left home to film. As well. I used to enjoy the radio when it first came out. Trying to get home to hear Amos and Andy. They were often held up for supper's meal a little bit. But it kind of changed the supper hours to fit in with it so everybody could live. But anyway, he loved ball games, loved fishing, hunting. we continued to go to all the Wabash games. Well, I don't know, he might have got a little bit too early toward the end, toward the ball game. But, he liked to look at his fishing tackle and often caught him in the basement, kind of sorting things out and moving them around. And thinking about it, going again, the next shift. He had one car with all his fishing equipment. That's about the only place that car went, fishing and hunting. I think he enjoyed that, really. Up to the day he died. In fact, he fished on Monday and Tuesday and died on Wednesday. He died with a heart attack. He died in Fort Wayne. And he took my mother up to skin specialist and had a heart attack like there in his office, I guess. And he's been over there to the Methodist hospital. That's where he died that evening.
How old was he?
75. He died in 1960.
And how much longer did your stepmother live on after that?
I think he lived about 7 years.
So how about Mary's family? What transpires there?
And Mary's parents, her father died right at the time, right after John was born.
That would have been
51.
51.
And her mother lived on for another, let's see, I believe it was about 6 years. 6 years after.
So they died at what age? Comparatively young?
My father was about 85.
85 at that time?
Okay. Her mother was considerably younger, and but I think I might be wrong on how long she lived. It seemed like she was in her 80s when she died.
Gosh, when you went back to the farm, and they must have been up in their 70s.
They were in their 70s.
They were in their 70s.
Father Snider was 74 or 5 that year. And he was feeling good, he could keep up with the rest all the time. I had an awful hard time trying to go his good.
So what happened to the business, and you were progressing and growing, and
well, when Sam got out of the army, he joined us in 2 years. That's continued there quite some time until it started slacking off in the spring, and I took a job with after Pentagon, and stayed with them about 3 years, but I didn't get entirely away from Schlemmer.
you were working right there at the Honeywell plant.
Yeah, in the sheet metal plant. In fact, I worked mostly in the Talbot building next door to Schlemmer. And of course, the sheet metal building down on West Canal Street, we make large panels down there and cubicles down instruments, like the resters, dampers, and so forth. Dampers. railroad dancers, and a lot of locomotive dancers, rapid transit dancers.
What is a dancer?
Dancer is motorized. Usually just shut the air on and off in the dust. As in the case of locomotives, it's a lot of air in for the engine. A diesel engine. Most engines at that time are all fired diesel or electric. And the diesel generates the current to supply the power to the wheel.
So Sam and Elton running the store then, and you're working next door at the Honeywell building in the sheet metal shop.
Stepped out of the evening and night all the time, and worked with crowding, and seemed like it was crowding most of the time. However, Sam soon decided he wanted to store his own, and over on Market Street to start a sporting goods store, and Elton and I paid his third, which paid him off his third, which got him started in his own business. And he's been away since. Elton and I seen quit Honeywell and went back. And it was with Elton until about 6 years ago.
And you bought him up.
No, John bought Elton.
John bought it.
And my boy, and we were partners for 3 years, and I became retirement age. I told him I'd sell my interest for no interest.
Just like you got paid.
Right. And so he and the Farm Bureau owned it. Plus, he still pays me.
Right.
And my invoice. So that's where they are today.
Yeah. Are you glad you made the decision to go back to the tin business, or do you wish sometimes as you look back that you'd kept traveling from Johnson's and stayed with Honeywell or tried some other business, stayed on the farm even?
Well, I think I would have preferred buying a farm. There was one for sale while I was up there, and I tried to get my father-in-law to finance me on a deal, but he probably could have done. At least he financed another fellow that bought the same farm I was interested in. Anyway, that was one of the things that made me decide to move out.
Just tried out on your own.
Yeah.
Well, that's understandable.
The judge him everything. He was a wise investor. And he knew this other fellow knew how to farm. And he would have been taking big chances with me.
Well, age gives you better insight into a lot of that.
Oh, there were never any hard feelings going up to that. That's decided the course anyway.
Yeah, it's such on the thing.
Right.
So what else do you think has been of interest in your life? I'm sure.
Everything.
Yeah. Oh, that's everything is interesting. Did you have a hobby all those years?
No, I never had a particular hobby. I inherited a little desire to see. never so great as my dad. I like to hunt, but I doubt if I ever got the enjoyment that he got. But I don't. I still enjoy it. But if I go fishing, it doesn't really matter whether I catch anything or I don't. I still enjoy it. And likewise, hunting, I enjoy the woods. But in the winter, other than snow, I enjoy the woods in the summertime too. But if I get a couple of rabbits all around the wood, I've never been deer hunting. I don't think I could see a deer if I had a chance. I just think I like seeing one better than fall down.
Did you think you would enjoy your semi-retirement as much as you have, or you enjoy it more?
I really enjoy it to this extent that now one takes the bunt or the faces of public. I like to take a job and go do it and not be bothered too much with interruptions and not that I don't like people, but to be working for 4 or 5 people at one time, be working for one person and have the other one catch the doing it.
Yeah. Anything that we've missed that you can think of that we should be talking about?
It seemed like we talked an awful lot. Covered a lot of page.
We talked about 3 hours or so, and tell me about the first automobile you finally owned.
1914 Buick. Soft top.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, all cars were swing at that time, I think. I remember the car, this was made about the same year I was born. But you could put the top down and had little iron brackets so you could put the top in and it was back. With no trunk on it. But they'd have a running board and at the time, very nice car. And my father used to like to drive fast. And this was one that was selling it, hold up well. And he drove that car until, I think, 1928. Of course, in the wintertime, the car was put up on jacks and stayed in the garage until spring. That's the way most people did it. It just wasn't meant to be a winter car. They just didn't drive much in the winter.
Do you remember the first radio that they owned?
Yes, Uncle Charlie sold radios down on Market Street, about where the parking lot is now. And my dad got interested in radios. The first one that we had about 12 dials across the front. Just each one, you get a small beat there, you just keep tuning in on it until you could understand. This is a little bit after the earphone deal, and you had to put earphones on to listen to it. quite a few trees and all strung out.
That was pretty revolutionary.
Right. And not too many around, but people were very interested in it. I remember going over to